There was a huge amount of anticipation surrounding the launch of KTM's Duke 200 for India. And at its launch, I have to say it lived up to a lot of our expectations. And now that I have the bike and I've ridden it around, I can tell you what it's like to be with. Well, really, it feels a lot like handling a really, really sharp knife. When it comes to the performance, there's nothing dull about it. Right from the word go, the Duke 200's motor is urgent and electric. It is a liquid-cooled 4-valve double overhead cam motor developing 25 bhp of power and 1.99 kgm of torque. With only 136 kilos to ferry around, the power and torque get a lot more potency. On top of that, the way the short-stroke 4-valve motor revs is plain crazy. It's like trying to outrun lightning. It's always ready to attack the red line. Then there's the closely stacked gearbox. With light and quick shifts, you can have this baby Duke doing some very grown-up acceleration times. 0 to 60 comes up in 3.8 seconds. At 100 comes up in a super quick 9.5 seconds. While power delivery is quite smooth and linear, there is a small surge at 4,500 RPM and then at 7,000 RPM. From here on, it just rushes to hit the rev limiter very hard. Flick through the gears and you'll end up hitting the rev limiter even in 6th gear, with the clocks displaying 140 km an hour, which is a true 133 km an hour. There's just no hesitation from this motorcycle. And despite the revs and the urgency, there are no vibrations or discomfort. So you could be going flat out all the time without getting bothered. But given its hyper nature, don't expect the Duke 200 to take it easy. Whether it's the city or out on the highway, the Duke is happiest going flat out. Now the Duke 200's motor is exactly like a teenager that's all hopped up on Red Bull, buzzing to get somewhere, get there quick, and well, have a blast along the way. Sure, you can ask it to take it easy, it can pot around in the city, it's got a nice closely packed gearbox, and well, it is more than capable of sitting at triple-digit speeds out on the highway. But it won't feel relaxed. And it's not fair to ask the Duke 200 to do that because, well, why would you use a hunting knife to butter your toast? It works, but why would you? Right? Because this is a very focused motorcycle and it does that job of being a fast, quick, fun to ride motorcycle really well. If I have to nitpick, I have to say under 2000 RPM, the fueling is a bit snatchy and well, the exhaust note could be more inspirational. But when you're here in the saddle and you're piloting this motorcycle, nothing really comes close. When it comes to hardware, there's no skimping here. The Duke is armed with the very best. An ultra-rigid, tubular trellis frame forms the chassis. There is a stunning cast alloy swing arm at the rear. At both ends, there's high-tech suspension provided by the specialist WP. The front uses upside-down telescopic forks. This is more rigid and provides the rider with a more direct feel, especially when braking hard. The rear uses a monoshock. Brembo's subsidiary Bybrake makes the radially mounted 300mm front and 280mm rear disc brakes. And along with steel braided hoses, you get solid feel at the lever. And the chunky 17-inch rubber is MRF's very best. Out on the road, everything comes together to create magic. The single-piece handlebar is wide, so pointing the bike into corners takes no effort. Given the signal, it just tucks right in. The Duke has superb grip and poise, whether braking hard or leaned right over. This feels like a superb track machine. It feels razor sharp. And although it's fun in the hands of a novice, it can be truly blazing in the hands of an expert. Choose your gears carefully as the razor-sharp throttle will eat up the revs in a flash. Now, even though the foot pegs are tucked back aggressively, the seating position is fairly upright and it's comfortable enough for spending long stints in the saddle. Now, around corners, the Duke 200 is an absolute blast. There's no two ways about it. Full stop. The way it slices up corners is kind of like a scalpel. It's light, it's precise, and it does such a clean job of it. And when you come to the ride side of it, the uncompromised suspension setup means it is on the firm side, and it's still not a problem as long as you're on smooth roads. But if you hit a rough section, you hit a pothole bad, you're going to feel it for sure. But when you're riding a motorcycle like this, well, you're going to have to make that small compromise. And when you're buying a KTM, another very distinctive aspect about it is the design. As is always the case, the Duke 200's attire has been designed by Austrian design company Kiska Design. As a result, the Duke looks a lot like its elder siblings, the Duke 690 and 990. Which means bodywork is minimal, and the bits that do exist are very edgy and distinctive. The brooding headlamp is squished in by two angular bands of orange. The LED turn indicators are slim and pointy. The small 10.5 litre tank is covered by plastic cladding that is slashed sharply, and the contrasting black and orange bits highlight the adrenaline junkie nature of the motorcycle further. The exhaust winds beautifully around the block and terminates in a boxy muffler under the engine. The stepped seat is supported by a tubular frame wrapped with slim panels. The bit I like the most is the small tail lamp nestled above the rear mudguard. The designers have tried to minimize the awkwardness of the hugger and sari guard, but it's better to just take them off. From the saddle, you get a smartly anodized one-piece handlebar and an LCD display that has a lot of information on tap. Right from the rev counter to the gear in use, average speeds and fuel consumption. But the small digits aren't very easy to read. KTM will also bring a range of accessories and apparels to India with which to personalize your Duke. I guess they'll need it because it's easy to imagine just about every young biker in India wanting one of these. Now, the Duke 200 is a world-class motorcycle, and people seem to find it a little hard to believe that it's been engineered and developed here in India by Bajaj Auto. But that's something that they can be proud of and we can brag about, because this is really a great motorcycle, fits the bill of a street fighter to a T. The engine has got solid electric urgent performance, it's got dynamics to match, and certainly looks the part. But as an uncompromised motorcycle, the rider might have to make a couple of compromises. In terms of ride, it's a little bit stiff, and just, I mean, a lot of people ask this question, will it cruise? It won't cruise. It's a very aggressive motorcycle. It can do high speeds, but it's not going to feel relaxed doing so. That's the character of the bike. And as a package, it's really well-rounded, got lots of equipment, and certainly very well priced. At 1.18 lakh rupees, it's sitting right in between Yamaha's R15 and Honda's CBR 250R. Both those motorcycles have got reason to worry, because this has to be one of the most exhilarating, exciting motorcycles to be made in the country today.